everyone, it is Evan here from the Trade Risk on Wednesday, October 24th. We are intraday right now, and this is our weekly trade ideas video where we bring you some of the names that we are watching, names that you may find interesting for your setup, your strategy, and hopefully your time frame. So as always, these videos are powered by our partners over at Investors Business Daily. We got 4 names coming from their stock lists. You can get access to their stock lists with a link in the description of this video. Now, it is volatile times out there right now. We discussed that in our midweek video yesterday. So as always, do your due diligence. Understand that if you are participating right now on the long side, if you're taking new long entries, just manage that risk appropriately. Understand that things are a little bit choppy out there, and we just want to make sure we take that into account. Every name we're going to look at today is on the long side. That is how we always do these videos. We're always looking for relative strength candidates. So these are names that may not be ready just yet today, but these are names that I think at least are holding up well and are worth paying attention to. And unfortunately, given the market environment out there, it is a very boring set of names that we're looking at this week. They are low beta defensive names, REITs, but that is what the market's giving us. That's what's holding up well. If these don't fit your type of time frame or strategy, then perhaps it's just a sit on your hands altogether and wait for those growth names to start to make some rebounds and bottom out. So let's jump into it here. First one is VICI. I may have talked about this on the stream before. It is a boring REIT. This comes from IBD's stock lists, but it's holding up well. It hasn't been giving a lot of gains back as the market's been pulling back, and you can see here it's essentially challenging and trading just under its all-time high resistance. I know we have a lot of erratic price action back here in early January, but volume was quite low back then. We really have volume picked up now, and we can see we have some clear trading and some clear resistance right around this 2175 area. So if we can start to break out through here, if we go to a weekly time frame, this is sort of the landscape, the structure. We got this uptrend intact now ever since bottoming out in May. If we can start to clear out these highs of 2175, this real estate investment trust does look like it would want to continue. So VICI, first name that we're paying attention to. Second one, SFM. So this is another name in the defensive area. It's a grocery store, but it has put in a pretty good looking bottoming pattern here. This is a long-term trade or time frame or outlook. This is a weekly chart that we're looking at right now, and you can see it's been bottoming out for the past over 2 years now. Since late 2015, mid 2015, we had just a series of ebbs and flows back in here. We had resistance right around 2780, which is where it currently is trading at, and then we have the ultimate kind of highs back here in early January around $30, and you can see we just barely tagged that just a few weeks ago back in mid-September. So SFM, again, much longer time frame here, but we have this nice move throughout August from $20 all the way up to almost $30. It's pulled back slightly, and now it's kind of rounding out, trying to put in a higher low and trying to step back up and retest this 29 area. So something to pay attention to. Again, it's a longer term trade, but if it can start to move through either this cluster of recent highs here around $28, or if you want to be a little more, look for a little more confirmation, then I'd look closer to that $29.75, $30 area. Next up, we have EEFT. So this one here, this is kind of a standout candidate now. This is an in the industrial sector, and industrials have been getting crushed. So this is not a a leading sector by any means right now, but it's certainly a relative strength leading stock within this sector. We recently saw this gap higher here back on the 1st of October, and it did hold that gap for the next couple of weeks. It continues to hold that gap for at least trading right now anyhow above this 110 level, and you can see it's just kind of coiling here with this open gap intact and just kind of digesting through time, working off this nice move, the strong run up here, mostly through time, not through a serious pullback. And this is interesting. Again, it's not ready yet clearly, but if this gap can maintain in place and then we eventually get a breakout through this 119, 120 pivot area, I think that would be a good setup there for continued action to the upside. Finally, from IBD's list, we have American Eagle, AEO, and this one here, a little bit of a different different setup here, but this has had a pretty monster move from mid-2017 all the way up to recent months. It's traded from about $11 up to $30. After peaking around that $30 level just a couple of months ago, it's made approximately a 30% pullback, which is a nice size kind of retracement here. And notice this week, it is showing some nice relative strength. It's taken out last week's highs and the prior week's highs. So it is now on pace for kind of resuming this to the upside here. And when we look now at a daily chart, you can see some nice relative strength recently as markets have been pulling back. We've actually seen this hold up. It's firming up and taking out these prior highs. So a little bit of a longer name here, something that may not be ready just yet, might not be your cup of tea here with this AEO setup, but I think it's interesting. It's a nice relative strength play, and it's been a good performer over the past year and a half or so. Finally, two other names, very defensive names coming from my watch list. We have Coca-Cola. This is breaking out today. If we look here at a weekly time frame, you can see this has moved sideways, found resistance around this $46, just under $47 area for the past few months. And when we look here at a daily chart now, you can see a nice expansion in range, taking out this resistance. We had some good volume coming in yesterday. We're going to track above average volume today by the session close. And this one really just seeing some rotation and really clearing through some pretty critical levels going all the way back to late 2017. So defensive name, a little bit boring, longer term outlook ideally on this name, but it is working, and I think it's worth just having on your radar. Finally, we have WMT. This is Walmart here. Now, this is a name that we do own, so we did get involved in this a few days ago, but this continues to work here. I love this weekly pattern here. When we look at WMT, you can see it had a nice little bottoming process take place over the course of February through July of this year, about 4.5-5 months or so. Then we saw this nice push up in August here, all the way up to $100. It flagged out very neat, very orderly, mostly sideways through time for about 8 trading weeks, and now it's trying to resume again. We saw an uptick in volume over the past couple of weeks, and it really looks like there's some good clear sailing above here. If it can start to break through, really if it maintains above $98, I think that is a good sign for Walmart here. If it can start to clear over 100, then we can get that nice run up back up perhaps to the February highs here in January. So we do own this name. We've been in it for a little bit. We will, full disclosure, be looking to take a little bit of profit off just to reduce risk as we start to get above $100, but we fully intend to try and stick with this as a longer term hold, perhaps a run up right into earnings, which is about mid-November here. So good relative strength and continues to ignore recent market weakness. So those are the names. Hopefully some of those are helpful. Hopefully you guys are maintaining some sanity out there through some of the volatility. And remember, you don't have to trade. You can stay sidelined, wait for those better opportunities. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Cash does look quite good when the market is pulling back. So that's it for me. Thanks so much. See you in the next video update.